Hello, this is Liz with Crafty Devotion. Today I'm going to show you how I made these ornaments, and I am actually going to do this as though you are purchasing a kit, because I have a few subscribers and customers who have asked me, you are able to use your own stash that you have at home, so you can use the same technique or just something similar. This ball that I'm using is about 8.5 inches. So this is the size of ball. You could probably go a little bit bigger. The smaller ones would be a little too small, only because of the type of lace I'm using. The pattern, you'd have to stretch it or separate them. So the ball is 8.5. You can see that there. And then what I did is I made a circle. I cut out a circle, and this circle, I'll use the template to show you. The circle is about, let me see, I'm going to measure from there to there, about 10 inches. So I used an 8.5 inch ball and a 10 inch. So that means I went up about 1.5 inches. If you buy a kit, I'm going to actually seal the edges a little bit for you. And they don't need to be sealed. They can be left raw because this does not continue fraying. But I just use a flame and I seal my edges. So if you want details on these types of things, last year I made a series of videos of tutorials and I went into detail, very detailed. I have 5-minute ones, but I also usually have a long version where I go in for beginners, people who want to learn. First thing we're going to do is I will have inside of your kit a piece of seam binding. I just started carrying this seam binding in my Etsy shop. It's kind of wrinkled, and it's because I did it on purpose. I wanted it to have that wrinkled look. Now, one of the things you can do is you can do a slight mist and moisten it a little bit with a little bit of water, but I'm not using water at all, and I'm just going to roll it into a ball, and this is going to make it look wrinkled, and I'm wrinkling it on purpose. Or if you like it without the wrinkles, then you do not have to do that. And all I'm going to do is wrap a rubber band around it. Or you can wrap a string, a twisty tie, whatever, just so that it will wrinkle for me. And then next, you're going to get your 8.5 inch ball and the fabric, which I seared the ends to ahead of time. Normally I sear mine after I put it together, which you will find a video. And realize that when I'm talking about certain things, that I usually place up on the top, you'll see a little thing flashing, and that's usually a place you can click and find a video or whatever I might be talking about. Fabric is a stretch fabric, so when you wrap it, I just kind of do a snug wrap, and I kind of hold it like this, and I try to even it out kind of so it's not totally off, because you're going to be able to adjust it in a bit, but just so it's not totally like way off from each other. And I take my rubber band. Now make sure that I'm going to provide rubber bands inside the lot, but if you use a rubber band, don't use the Dollar Tree ones. I've used them before because I just pick them up and they're not very good. They always seem to bust on me. So get some good quality rubber bands. Don't need Dollar Tree ones. But you don't have to use a rubber band, people. If you don't have one, use ribbon. It's a little more difficult. But this one, I wrapped it 3 times. I folded it in half like this, and then I wrapped it 3 times. You can wrap it 2 if you feel more comfortable with that. But it makes it really nice and snug. So this is right now what mine looks like. Okay. Now, if you see, the other thing I do is I like to adjust this section a little bit, so you can see how the fold's kind of off compared to those. And I usually just go around and I pull on it like this until the ruffles are sort of, I'm trying to do this so you can actually see it. So most of the ruffles are even. If there's a lot of fabric there, it's easier to do this if you only wrap it 2 times around the rubber band I'm providing for you. But I wanted this to be tight. So this section is the only section I see that still needs a little work. Okay, that looks pretty good. Pretty centered, and you can see the wrinkles. Look, that just looks like it's a ruffle. And you can see now that this is way off. Okay, so I will center this a little more. You can see how it moves around. Just pull it so that it's centering. So just make it generally. It doesn't have to be exact, but you can see that's pretty close. That's pretty close. And now I want you to look at that. Doesn't that look like a rose? So you can leave it just like this, or you can take it like you can see this one. It's fanned out a little more where I pulled it, and all you do to fan it out is just pull it down this way, and it fans it a little more. Okay, so that's the base. I just cut a piece of the lace that was inside of my thing. I don't know how long this is. You make it as long as you want, but about 3 fingers fit in there. I'm a guesstimator. I don't do things exact. And I like the idea. And so all you do is pull this out. And this is a styrofoam ball. So if it was a plastic ball, it probably already has something there for you. Okay, and then I take some glue. So what's going to hold it down? The lace, the glue, and the pin. And be careful, don't poke yourself. Usually I'll take something and push down because I don't want my finger to get melted. So there we go. Now there's your little hook inside. When I put this in the lots of the applique lots that I have, I put about 5 of them. So I'm going to remove one because all we need are 4. And we might use these scraps. I did use those scraps. One down here, see? So I'm going to put it here. And this is how I figured out. I like to figure out little ways that I can show you how to do it. That might, like if you have trouble applying it straight or something like that, I like to give you ideas. I could myself just place this on here and kind of guess and feel comfortable with that. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, I'm going to show you a way to do it. I like to come up with little ideas for you and suggestions on ways to do something. So I just have a piece of Scotch tape, and here I am. And all I'm gonna do is make like it'll look like a crown. I'm just attaching it in a continuous circle. And what I'm doing is, this is just here temporarily. I'm taping it down. This is temporary just so that I can adjust it and put it onto the thing. And so here I just put tape over it, and you can see it's pretty close. Okay, so we put it into a little circle, and I'm holding it gently because tape is Scotch tape. It's not so, but I want to be able to put it right through and lay it right on top. And I realized it fit perfectly, but you still got to make sure that it is about centered. Okay, so you can with your eye just measure and kind of get it centered with your eye. Okay, the next thing, this is a suggestion if you struggle. I've taught you how to place a rubber band around your ball to kind of measure your rubber band, and that's in another tutorial, the details. But you can also do it with the lace like this one I just did, and then you just use this and you measure all the way around. Now when you're doing this and you move it, you need to understand that every time you move it, you're going to need to go around again and check to see if it is one. You can see this one's kind of starting to go down. Just adjust it a little bit. You'll have to do it repeatedly. So you can see this one's starting to go up, which is okay. I'm going to just check the next one. Yeah, we got to pull it down a little bit. And just to help it to be about the same, I'm going to check that one because I just moved it. And you can see that I put it about 1.5 right here. Actually, it moved, so about 1.5. And I actually curved mine. I like these little things. I have several and I'm always losing them. And I use them for different things. I don't think I know the proper thing I'm supposed to use them for. But anyway, that's what I do. So that's another way that you can, maybe if you feel, like it's off. And then I want you to make sure that when you do, once you get it together, that you hold it. Do not let it go. Hold it. Okay, and then come over and you're going to tack it with the glue. Now, I want you to know to tack it maybe on opposite sides. then you just put a tiny bit of glue, because then you can move it if you need to. If you do purchase the darker colors, you have got to be careful, because putting too much glue on darker colors, the glue shows a lot, so you want to always put it in inconspicuous areas. Now the pink, it won't show as much, so it's not as big of a deal, but the other colors, they will show a lot, especially the red. On the red, I had to be very, very careful. So I went through and I just glued all these down here. Very little bit of glue. And what I use is this glue gun. It's just the Surebonder Mini Detail Glue Gun. And I will put a link to an app so you can purchase it on Amazon. You know, it's really inexpensive. It's like under $15. I think it's closer to $10. And if you purchase through my link, I actually you know, get a little percentage from Amazon for that, as well as the glue that I use, because when I do these, I use a really good quality glue. So I don't just use the low quality glue, because then it will come off, and you want these to last you several years. What I found is sometimes some of you don't know that I try to put things in my tutorials and stuff in categories, and it's called playlists. And if you go and you click on my name on the bar, it's like on the left side on the bottom here. I'm using my glue gun to point at the bottom underneath. You'll see my name, Crafty Devotion. You click on my actual name, but if you do that, you'll see that I have some videos in categories. Like I might have all my Christmas videos together, or like I have all, if you like 5-minute videos, you don't like those long detailed ones, I put most of the 5-minute videos all in one section. I'm going to probably turn this into a 5-minute video also for those of you who are like that. And I'll probably place that video here and on Facebook. I'm starting to put my 5-minute videos on Facebook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this applique. And this is the beauty of these types of appliques. I have one lot I put together, and I put all things that you can easily cut apart inside the lot, because sometimes you don't want to mess with beads. You can add your beads afterwards, like here, even on this ornament, you can add beads in the center of every single flower. But I'm just removing the flower, because I decided when I designed these that I was going to place the flower right here at the bottom. See that? Just give it a little, I mean, there's so much you can do with these things, but I wanted to keep it quite simple, and I usually do that. I'll set it so that way it can move around where I want it, adjust it, and then I'll come through and go underneath it and put a little glue on each petal. All right, here, this is the other trim we're going to put on right now, and count 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just trim that off, and then put it on the right side, and you're going to make it into a circle, much like you did the other. It's just an easy way I felt that I can show you how to do it. And again, we're going to, this time it's not going to be as fragile. We put it right over, and then you place it where you want it to be. Oh, this one got flipped. Let's see. Place it where you want it to be, and realize that you could see this sticking up, but it's going to glue down. And this part right here, it's okay if it's a little bit cupped. And I wanted to leave a little space there, but again, it doesn't need to be exact. So all I do is I'm going to put it around the area where I want it to be, right there. Hold it down with my thumb, and then I'm going to put a little glue there underneath it. And again, I'm going to go around like I did before, and I'm going to tack it all the way around. And I usually tack like opposite sides first, at least something similar to close to opposite side, and just leave a little gap. This does not need to be exact. It looks beautiful even when it's not exact. I'll skip every other one or so. And this little trim, this one I do carry in my shop. I did not put any of this one in any of the lots. It's a cute trim, and it's very functional for me, so if it doesn't get purchased, I will use it up. Alright, I'm making this my front, and so I'm just going to kind of measure my lace, and I'm just going to make it a little longer than I'm going to want it hanging down, and I'm going to cut off whatever's left, just because I do need room, and then I want to be able to have extra if I want to use it. So I'm going to just knot this nice and snug, and you may get in the lot a different lace, because I only have so much of this one, and then the laces like these might be different. Okay, there, I knotted that. Okay, and now at this point, if you wish, you can come down here and remove the rubber band if you wish. Sometimes I remove it, sometimes I leave it, and this is a clear band, so it's not that big a deal, but I just snipped it, that's all I did. There you go. Alright, next we're going to get the piece of seam binding that we wrinkled up earlier, and we're going to use it to make a bow. Oh, that's nice and wrinkled compared to the other that I had. I think I made the rubber band tighter. Okay, so I'm going to use 4 fingers, and this is going to be the part that's hanging down. This is how I do it. The part that's hanging down, I just wrap it like an X, and then I create another one. You can see there's 2, now there's 3. I decided to do it 3, and I don't do it too tight, and then this one that's hanging down, I make the other one very close and just trim it. See, I still have a little piece left. And now all you got to do is, I hold this part, and all you got to do is scrunch it up right there. I'm going to show you a little bit of my a la Liz technique. This is one of the ways I like to do it. I use my hairpin method, and I use my hairpin to hold it. Alright, now you can either use the lace or the more seam binding. I'm going to use this lace to wrap around it. So you can just wrap this around. Here you go. And once I do that, I slip out the hairpin. This makes me, I do this a lot. It's not like you could make your own bows any way you want. I'm not an expert bow maker, never have been. I have never tried, I guess. I'm sure I can get better if I tried. But I don't use a whole lot of bows. But I've really been thinking about making a wreath, so I might do that. I might learn how to make bows as one of my things I do. And I decided that at this time I wanted to put some seam binding and lace on the same side. So there I am. Take this lace that we already have on there, and I'm going to put it on the back. This is how I did it because I purposely wanted to have a piece hanging on the opposite side too. There we go. And I just want a little bit. I don't want it covering, I didn't want it covering all of the beauty. And then this is going to go here. So when I'm making and designing things, I will experiment a lot. And I like to use little pieces. So you'll see me using little pieces to do a variety of things. And I don't let things go to waste. I use things and I use the little pieces. See how beautiful that looks when it's all wrinkled? I haven't used seam binding that much, but it looks beautiful. And then this gorgeous piece is going to go here. Can you see? Now I would decide how I'm going to place this, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to place it like that, with the 2 pearls going here and this rhinestone going upward. Now these do not have, they're pretty much almost a flat back, and I carry these in my shop, but you can sew on this little section here. So I'm just going to place some glue on there, and I do like to test things because then I can decide where I want it to go, and as I'm adjusting it before the glue dries, and I'm not done here. See, these are uneven and they're quite long, so I'm going to shorten them because I do not want this totally covered. Maybe around here. I'm just putting them together and they'll hopefully. Okay, so I trimmed those. We can trim this side too, and it looks about the right size, and I like the way they're lying. They don't need to be up to the front. I like them going in that direction. See that? Okay, so now let's go ahead and put the flower on the opposite side, and that will look gorgeous. I may just put a little piece of this on there. Okay, so let me wrap this. I have enough left over to make another bow, and you may or may not have some left over based on what you do. And so I'm only doing it 2. The other one we did 3. This one I'm doing 2. And I'm sure, I don't think I have anything to tie it with, so I will find something else. So if you're going to do this, you sometimes can use your stash. So on my others, I did not put ribbon on the back side, but this time I am, because I like to show you variations, and I'll show you both of them together. And because I did give you more ribbon, I wanted to make sure you had enough for your flowers, but you can see 2 look good too. There we go. So I think I'm going to go ahead and place that there. Move this down. Hopefully it sticks out. The reason I only put 2 is because I want it to stick out. That flower is quite large. You can see it's large. So you don't want these strings. You can just remove the wire and put some glue on it. And set that up in the center, and again, while it's before it finishes drying, I adjust anything I have in the back so that it sits the way I like it. And there we go. So isn't that gorgeous? I love these flowers. I do have them in my shop, a few left anyway. Let's compare them. So they're similar. Again, everything that you do, you have a little bit of difference. There we go. Cute. Do you see how it changed it with the white in the back? It kind of brought the pink flower out a little more, which is the way you do it. So I think I give you close to over a yard of that ribbon. So last time I used the ribbon, I think to wrap or something. I don't know what I did, but and then the hook, the little thing is in here. You can hang this. You can use a hook on it, or you can use more lace. Whichever you do. This one had one already in it, so I didn't have to do that part. And I think I did that background on both of them, little thing. So there you go. Now what you do next is you go and make sure everything is nice and snug. And if you're going to order the red, if you do the red, you need to make sure you understand that you need to be very careful with that. And then I have this blue, and then this very deep purple. Now they are different types. This one is actually the kind that has embossed flowers on it, and this one is more of the crushed velvet look. They're both stretch. The only one that's not stretch is this one, the red. And So I'll put it in just materials. I am not providing the ornament itself. So you need to get an ornament that's 8.5 inches all the way around. You can use plastic baubles, or let me get a couple so I can show you. So you can use the plastic baubles, or you can use the styrofoam baubles. And what I decided is I was going to give you a few pearls, because the pearls will be really easy to add. So I'm going to give you a few pearls like this in your kit. And that way you can use them, or you can use your stash, but at least this will give you an idea of what you can do. So here, a pearl. You can put one on each here. I'm going to probably give you enough to put on each of these flowers. And you see how it just, what it does? It just makes it, even brings it one more step. This is what I mean, is that this is a great ornament. You can add more bling if you want. You can add less bling. So instead of putting, you can also put a pearl like here and here, or right here in the center. That would look cute. If you put a pearl right there, and that look cute. Yes, it adds a little more to your ornament. Oh, look at that, how pretty. And then you can even add a pearl here, one here, here, here. I think I might, I don't know, they might look good right here, just to fill in that little extra. I'm not sure if I like it, but I did for sure like it here. So I'm only going to give you enough to to put on. I'm only going to give you enough to put on each flower, so that's about 5. But I might give you a couple extra. We'll see. But that looks pretty. See? So you can go on embellishing as much as you want from your stash and give it a little more love. But I kind of wanted you to see how something looks gorgeous just like that, and then you can add your own stash to it and make it your own. Make it your own. If you have more pearls, then go around and add them, or not. This is Liz with Crafty Devotion. I hope you are inspired by my designs. And for those of you, I really appreciate it if you take the time and you share my videos with your friends. I will probably create a 5-minute video. This is Liz with Crafty Devotion. I will talk to you next time.